1. Good morning and welcome to the Strategy and Communication Services Committee for April 25th. I am the Chair, Grant Berg. Also on this committee are Councillor O'Toole, Councillor Bosch, and Mayor Clayton. I don't see any delegations in the room, so moving on to reports. Service area update with Chief McEachran.
Thank you, Chair Berg. For the service area update today, starting with the City Clerk's office, we've received notice from Municipal Affairs to allow for a 2024 municipal census. So a full briefing note will be brought to Council through the Strategy and Communications Committee sometime in June. On corporate communications front, work is now underway on the new Grande Prairie Police Service website with launch date set for sometime in June as well, hopefully beginning of June. And the city announced provincial grant of $430 to go towards low-income transit pass programs. In intergovernmental affairs, planning continues to co-host an event with the MD of Greenview, the County of Grande Prairie, and the city at the FCM conference at the end of May. The event will showcase the quality of life in Northwest Alberta. Planning continues with the Chamber of Commerce for the State of the Region event that will be held in June. There is the development of a grant application database that is underway, and planning continues for an event to commemorate the inclusion of Indigenous flags into council chambers. Human resources have been exceptionally busy. We will be hosting our first administrative networking meeting as part of City's recognition for professional administrative staff tomorrow on April 26th. We'll include professional development and related activities. On the health and safety front, we've hosted Tough Enough to Talk About It on April 19th. 40 employees attended. The session is part of the psychological wellness focus for the city for 2023. And Employee Safety Week is coming up next week from May 1st to 5th with lots of safety activities for all of our employees. On the weekend, we also received notice. We had applied for a federal summer employment grant for $420,000 in January. We received notice on the weekend that we are now eligible for $199,500 for over 90 summer student positions. Last year, just to note, we had applied and we received $22,000. So this is a significant increase for this year. We're quite excited to have this. We'll also continue to focus on labor relations, and to that front, members of CLT met with the QP executive last week, I believe it was last week, and we're going to continue to have meetings with them to improve the relationship with them. In corporate marketing, phase 1, the discovery of the strategic brand project is complete. This week, the first draft of the phase 2 of the brand strategy will be presented the week of May 8th. And currently, corporate marketing is working on the Grande Prairie Police Service branding as well as the GPPS Transition Awareness Education campaign that we're hoping to soft launch in short order. And with that, I can take any questions.
Thank you for your report, Chief McEachran. Any questions around the table? I was looking to our committee first, but Councillor Blackmore.
Thank you, Chief McEachran. I'm really pleased to hear that you're providing the Tough Enough to Talk About It training, which is mental health for people, both to recognize when they may be in mental distress and also to recognize when coworkers are in mental distress. You said you had 40 employees take that program. Is it the intent to continue to bring that program back into the city until you get a significant number of staff members into the training?
Thank you. Through the chair, yes, it is. It's an ongoing series that we are presenting. This one was held over at the service center. We will be holding it on a regular basis throughout different facilities.
Well, thank you. Anyone who wants to provide that training to their staff can contact Suicide Prevention in Grande Prairie, and they will do that for free. So it's an awesome program. Thanks.
Councillor O'Toole.
Yes. The grant funding we got for summer employment, what department would probably benefit the most with the summer students?
As part of the application process, we had to identify positions that the grant money would be attributed to. So it is broken out. The largest portion are going for general labor, but we also have such things as pool lifeguards, fitness leaders, engineering, environmental, and IT help desk are also receiving summer students.
Well, that's excellent. And yeah, no. How many are we gonna probably hire?
Approximately 90.
90. That's good. Could use that.
Yes.
Thanks very much.
Thank you, Councillor O'Toole. And before I jump to Councillor Bosch, just to follow up to that question, for students that are out there, how would they start applying for these positions?
Thank you, Chair. I'll have to confirm, but I believe just through our website, there will be on our job posting will go on our website.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Bosch.
It's okay. My questions were answered. Thank you.
Any other questions? Oh, Mayor Clayton.
Thanks, Councillor Berg. I think that's a great announcement to be able to hire additional students. We have identified as council as beautification and really that community curb appeal to be enhanced. And I think I look forward to some of the results over the summer of seeing these enhanced areas come to life. Thanks.
All right, and with that, thank you so much, Chief McEachran, and we'll just move on to 3.2, procedure bylaw amendment, and just open this up. I believe this one is around Zoom meetings and how many that we're able to attend. So we're looking for 3 readings to modify this. Yep, come on. Sorry, I wasn't aware who was presenting on this. So Ms. Hanson?
So through the chair, yes. Ms. Hanson, our city clerk and director of legislative services, will present on this bylaw amendment.
Go ahead.
Thank you, through the chair. So this amendment is coming forward to look for the committee to recommend council give 3 readings to bylaw C1299F. And this is an amendment to the procedure bylaw. And as council is aware, over the last few meetings, there have been a few amendments that have been recommended to the procedure bylaw. Those are not identified in here. They will be coming forward within the next couple months. They just require a little bit more work to be done to bring those back to council. For the purpose of today, we are looking at 2 items, and that is to look at the removal of section 2C and 2D under Schedule C of the procedure bylaw. And this is dealing specifically with virtual meetings. And so under the current bylaw, the allowance for virtual meetings is a limit of 6 days for committees and 6 days for council meetings. And so just to speak to that, City Council, Mayor and Council, when you're building relationships and doing city business, often you are out of the city and building those relationships and business for the benefit of the community. And so there is an increased need in order to be available both for city council and committees and also taking care of business. And so sometimes those limits of 6 within the course of the year create a challenge to be able to stay within that. So the recommendation that's come forward is to remove section 2D, which would create flexibility for council members and the mayor to be able to sign in virtually and attend meetings when you are out of town on other business. Item 2C deals with quorum. And just to ensure that we are not creating any additional challenges with quorum when individuals on council are participating through virtual means. That would be the summary of the recommendations, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Look to committee first. We'll go first to Councillor O'Connor.
Thank you. In looking at this, there was in discussion with another counselor under 2B, the member is unable to attend in person due to personal. I'd like to add the word business, medical, or family medical reasons. And the reason I say that, there are some counselors that have businesses, and sometimes you just can't get away because you've got a business engagement that you have to be at. So that's for consideration, and then I have a second one whenever you're ready.
Go ahead.
Okay, under 4E, the use of headphones or earbuds is mandatory. The use of speakerphone, including hands-free option, is in a personal vehicle is strictly prohibited if in a stationary position, only because if you're down the road, I've been in a vehicle where all members of council were in that vehicle and we had to log in remotely. And so I think speakerphone, you're not allowed to wear headphones while driving down the road. It's illegal. But I think if all members are part of council in that vehicle, I think that should be allowed while traveling. And I'm open to have that discussion with anyone.
Okay, thank you, Councillor O'Connor. Over to Councillor Palat.
Thanks, Chair Berg. Don't mind your First Amendment. I guess the second one, I'm struggling with why we'd make them mandatory. I'm not a big fan of earbuds. I don't want to wear them if I don't have to, but I appreciate we can have a chat when that gets to council. One thing I've noticed since being back on council is I feel like our attendance seems to be higher, so I'm not sure if we can speak to that, but I feel like because we have the option to Zoom in, we're not missing many meetings. I feel like we're quite full for our committees, quite full for our council. Having said that, I'm not a fan of going to zero accountability on whether you have to be in chambers or not. So I probably won't be supporting this when it comes to council. I would be fine if we said 50% of your meetings or 12 a year. I'm really not a fan of thinking that somebody could just sit at home and be via Zoom. I know we've talked about a council saying, well, why would we do that? But I think if you put this bylaw in there and saying, you're welcome to Zoom in for every single meeting. If somebody chooses to do that, we can't get upset about that. And I really don't feel comfortable with somebody being able to Zoom in all the time. I appreciate that this council's moving at a faster pace than maybe last term, and that we're engaged a lot more and we're going to more meetings. I think if you missed 12 committee meetings a year, that's half of them, or 12 council meetings a year, half of them. I think after that, you got to start wondering why you're gone so much and why you're missing the council meeting. So I won't be supportive of this when it comes to council unless there was an amendment to maybe 50%, and that's kind of where my gut is at on it. So thanks.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Palat. So we're going to go to Mayor Clayton, but Dylan Bressy online, Councillor Bressy, and then Councillor Thiessen. So Mayor Clayton.
Just wanted to clarify to Councillor Palat, the headphone piece is for in-camera only. And so the intent of, so for item number 4 in Councillor O'Connor's item would address in-camera meetings only. I don't have any comments on Councillor O'Connor's suggestions on 4E. I understand I can appreciate the intent of his initiative there, not using speakerphone in a vehicle, and especially a vehicle because you could have passengers. I got to think about the wording there. Maybe it is, if you're stationary, your camera's on, there's some specifications maybe there we want to consider, but for now, I just wanted to clarify that the comment was regarding in-camera.
Yeah, and I'll just jump in here before we go to Councillor Bressy. Just received a note, just confirmed it is not illegal to use earbuds while driving. And Councillor Bressy.
Great, thank you. Yeah, 2 thoughts. So regarding the vehicle, I think the intention of that is that sometimes when people are parked in a car, they feel like they're being private, but if you park next to them and get out of your vehicle, you can hear everything they're being said. And so if we are going to change that rule, it's important to address that. But my bigger one was going alongside what Councillor Palat said. I really think that some sort of change is needed. I'm a prime example right now. I'm in Edmonton on Alberta Municipalities business, which is a responsibility the council endorsed me running, and it brings me to Edmonton a lot. And frankly, I'm going to go over 6 meetings just being on Alberta Municipalities business this year. So clearly a change is needed. That being said, I also know that there are councils in the province where there's councillors that haven't attended a single meeting in person since the election. And I don't think that would ever happen with anybody on our current council, but you don't know what you're going to get in the future. And I do think we need to guard against that. But I don't want to be too prescriptive with the number of meetings, because you can have business reasons, you can have medical reasons. There could be reasons that people could miss a lot that would be reasonable. So my suggestion would be make these changes as recommended, but also if we update our code of conduct to say in our code of conduct, reasonable effort must be made to attend meetings in person whenever practical, then there would be a code of conduct complaint that council could make against a colleague that really was being unreasonable about it without us being prescriptive about here's the exact number you can hit. So I think we should make these changes, but also talk about our code of conduct.
Thank you, Councillor Bressie. I know Mayor Clayton has something, but I'm going to go to Councillor Thiessen first.
Thank you very much, Chair Berg. Yeah, and thanks to Mayor Clayton. I was going to point out as part of my thing that, yeah, this is just for in camera, and I think earbuds are important. And as Councillor Bressie mentioned, you can hear everything outside of the vehicle. I'm in line with Councillor Palat, Councillor Bressie, in regards to do we need to have some form of accountability for our future council members and stuff? I guess I just have a question in this regard. Since we have set a number at it, are we currently tracking how many virtual, and do we know, like on hand right now, how many virtual committee meetings? Is anybody close to the 6 already, being in April?
Yes, through the chair to Councillor Thiessen, they are tracked. So attendance is tracked for all council, and so it does indicate whether it's virtual. All those things are tracked, and we do have some members that are getting very close, and we're at the end of April. So we have a good part of the year yet, and that's where it was raised as to needing to bring this forward to have another look at the bylaw.
Okay, no, thanks for that. Just 24 council days, 24 committee days. It's about a quarter that we're allowed to miss on either or, I think. I think a level of accountability is good. I think making the effort to show up, even virtually, is good too. But like Councillor Bressie said earlier, I just had a conversation with a councillor that said that in Edmonton this last week that said that they haven't had one member show up because they don't like a member of council, so they choose to go to the events, but when it comes to council meetings, they're always virtual. So I would hate to have that type of segregation inside of our council. And I'm okay with setting limits. I think sometimes we have to look and realize that our first and primary job is council and committee, and if we can make those in person as much as possible, we're probably serving our community a little bit better. So,
thank you, Mayor Clayton.
Thanks for that, Chair Berg. I had 2 items to address. One being, I'm comfortable with there being a number, if that's the preference of council. I'm also comfortable if we were to add a line of consideration that addresses the numbers be excluded if and when you're doing council business. So, for example, Councillor Bressie is appointed to AB Munis. Myself, I sit on the Mid-Size City Mayor's committee. There are times that we all need to call in, and if we're calling in and we're on holidays, that's one thing. If we're calling in and we're doing council work, I don't think that should count in your number of items that the number of days you're allowed. So I'm happy to leave that to administration for either option of consideration. The other item I wanted to bring up was in regards to in camera, and I've lost my train of thought, so I'll jump back in the queue later.
Okay, thank you, Mayor Clayton. Councillor O'Toole.
Really like the discussion going around here. I know myself, I was quite sick. I had was contagious for a while, and I did not want to leave my house, and it got me through COVID because I was very sick for quite a while, and the Zooming in and attending the meetings that way was very beneficial for myself. I'm not sure if we want to make a motion now, deal with business now, and then we can discuss more. Is that okay with you, Chair?
Yes, I would prefer that.
Okay, I would move that council give 3 readings to bylaw C-1299F.
No, sorry. That'll come back to council. Right now, administration is looking for just giving us a heads up on the potential changes, and this will come back as to a council meeting, correct?
Through the chair to Mayor Clayton, the recommendation is today is for committee to recommend the council give 3 readings to the bylaw at a next council meeting.
But we don't have agreed upon changes yet. So, you know, if you could take as recommended by administration, there was Councillor O'Connor already had one amendment. I remembered my train of thought, Councillor Thiessen. In the quarterly financial statements, you see the actual attendance reports. So, Councillor O'Toole, if you do have a motion, there is an amendment. If you're going to accept administration's recommendation, we should probably vote on the amendment first.
Yeah, so Councillor O'Toole, in your e-scribe, the suggestion from Councillor O'Connor is in there. He's not on this committee, but it looks like his thoughts have been relayed.
I don't have it on my e-scribe here, so.
Just click on details and it'll pop right up. Yeah, no, it already has Councillor O'Toole identified as the person if he's willing to make the motion.
I don't got it on here. Okay, I will check this out here. I move the committee amend bylaw under 2B to add business after the word personal, and under 4E to add unless in a stationary position at the end.
Okay, that motion is in order. Any discussion around that? Councillor Palat?
Thanks, Chair Berg. I won't weigh in too much today because this is going to come back to council. I guess for me, for administration, when it comes back to council, I'm hoping kind of Councillor Thiessen's questions of, can you let us know how many people are bumping up against the threshold of where we're currently at?
No, it's not for virtuals.
No.
It's just attendance.
So just to give me kind of I guess, a reference point when it comes back to council, is there 1, is there 2, is there 4 of us? I do like the idea of adding some wording around, as Councillor or Mayor Clayton said, if it's for city functional work that's been approved by city, I think there should be some verbiage added around that. I don't want to try to wordsmith it on the fly though, because again, this is going to come back to council. So I do think if we could add some wording around that. I know Councillor Bressie had mentioned definitely there's some potential changes. I guess my concern is I don't want us to start having to police each other on things. I think let's make this a cut and fast rule. I don't want to get into policing. Well, should they or shouldn't they have been in attendance? Was that a good enough reason or not? I think if you're on an appointed committee or AB munis, those are pretty good reasons, but I think I'd like to see some more dialogue around those so that we don't get into where it could be a contentious issue later on for councillors to use against each other, and I don't want to get into that. So,
okay, Councillor Thiessen, then Mayor Clayton.
Thank you very much, Chair Berg. Yeah, I look forward to this coming to council too. I'd almost rather take care of the amendments there as well. As far as like the personal business, I don't mind adding words, but I think personal and business can be interplayed. Hey, you got a personal job? Hey, that's works for business. I think we're just adding words. So in that regard, and under the use of headphones, I don't know if at council I'd be inclined to vote in favor of that amendment either, as in the stationary vehicle. As Councillor Bressie clearly detailed, you can hear it anytime someone's talking on speakerphone or whatever in their car. If they're not wearing headphones, you can hear literally everything. It's almost magnified inside of the car, outside of the car. So so I don't know if I'm down with those specific changes. I like the wording, and I look forward to Councillor Palat's suggestion coming back to council where we can actually see those things abutting. Thanks to the mayor for pointing out that our attendance is scheduled, but we just don't have a virtual option currently in that. We do?
I'll get in the queue.
Okay,
Mayor
perfect.
Clayton.
Yeah, you're next.
Thanks. Just speaking with Legislative Services, the report that you have in front of you is Q4, where it wasn't identified virtual or in person. For Q1, we have tracked virtual or in person, so you will see it. Since I have the mic, Chair Berg, I too can't support this amendment. I like the second one. I think as long as we're using earbuds, the vehicle doesn't need to be stationary. And the code of conduct is a perfect place, as Councillor Bressie mentioned, to address some of the other concerns. So I can't support this amendment. I do like the intent of the other amendment, though. So thanks.
Yeah, thank you. And just a reminder, we're just pushing this forward to council where we can debate and propose amendments there as well. Councillor Bosch.
That was my intent.
Thank you, Chair Berg. I'm in agreement with the majority of council here. I think that there is a need to change how we do business and conduct meetings. It's worldwide now that online is something that is a focus. If you're approved to go to some sort of conference or a meeting, that should be part and parcel of that approved list. So the wording around that is probably essential, whether it's in the conduct or within these bylaws. But I look forward to the discussion at council to move this ahead.
All right, Councillor Blackmore.
I'm just wondering, Councillor Berg, if there's a way to say you can be on Zoom if you're out of town, but if you're in town, you're expected to be in council chambers. I know that for people who are in other communities and are using Zoom because they don't want to be in council chambers, they're in town. There's no reason for them to be on Zoom. I don't think any of us leave town with just to get out of a meeting. So just so we can be on Zoom. I don't think any of us are really crazy or don't really enjoy Zoom that much to start with. But anyway, I'm wondering if that kind of verbiage would maybe handle the issues sufficiently and we wouldn't have to get into being too prescriptive in the bylaw. Look for comments on that.
Yeah, thank you. And I'll just add one in there. I do appreciate the idea of adding, I guess, the word business, but I too see what Councillor Thiessen was mentioning. That could be counted as personal too. Again, on a personal level, I do run a small business and there are some times where I can't get staff. Now, I don't see that building up to 6 times a year, but I can't speak for other future elected officials. But we always want to get the best candidates. And if it's limiting as a business person or you have another job, so by saying you're in town, you should be here, but some circumstances may dictate that you're just not able to. Mayor Clayton, I think you had your hand up.
Yeah, just a brief comment to Councillor Blackmore's comment. I think that some of those maybe be addressed in the code of conduct in regards to the expectation that when you're in town, you're here in person, unless sick, obviously. These, I think, are valuable to clean up this bylaw. So whenever you're ready to call the question, Councillor.
Yeah, I'm ready to call the question on the 2 amendments.
First one, right?
First, okay, just the first amendment then? Okay.
Oh, do you have them together? My apologies.
Yeah, I thought so. Thanks. Yeah, we can bunch them together. And that is opposed 3-1, but a reminder to Councillor O'Connor, you can revisit these during our council meeting. So back to the first order of business, Councillor O'Toole.
You want to do it?
Councillor Bosch? His scribe isn't up.
I move committee recommend council give 3 readings to bylaw C1299F, being an amendment to the procedure bylaw as amended.
And that motion is in order. Any discussion around moving it forward? I don't see any hands up, so I'll call the question. And that passes 4-0. Moving on, I don't see any correspondence, no other business. Thank you, Ms. Hanson. Bylaw and policy review. So to our outstanding items list. Back to Chief McEachran.
Thank you, Chair Berg. There's no changes to the outstanding items list. Both items will be coming forward in Q2.
Wonderful, thank you. And it looks like we have an item for in camera. So, oh, sorry. Vote. Yes, motion for outstanding items list. Councillor O'Toole.
I move that we adopt the outstanding items list as presented.
And that is in order. I'll call the question. And that passes 4-0. And as mentioned seconds ago, we have an in-camera item. So if I can get a motion to go in camera. Councillor Bosch.
I move to go in camera.
And call the question. And that passes 4-0. 4-0.
We just have.
Just adjourn.
We're just adjourned then.
So right.